everyone, welcome to DIY with Nancy. With Canadian Thanksgiving coming up, I decided I'm going to share my recipe, or my mom's recipe, that she's shown me how to make, of Portuguese stuffing. In Portuguese we call it recheio. And I'm going to be making this stuffing the way my mom taught me, and we use it for clearly the turkey. You could stuff the turkey with this stuffing. And we also make it in a tray so we can get some nice crispiness on the top of the stuffing. We can also make it and stuff some hot banana peppers or bell peppers. So there's a variety of ways of using the stuffing. Today I'm going to show you how to make it on just a Pyrex tray, and I'm going to show you how to make this recipe step by step. So stay with me and let's get to cooking. Here are the ingredients you'll need to make recheio or Portuguese stuffing. I have 8 giblets and 1 chouriço, and we're going to be boiling both the chouriço and the giblets. You also need 2 cups of long grain rice, and we'll also be boiling the rice. 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter at room temperature. I have here 8 Portuguese buns that are a couple days old and half of a cornbread, and we're going to only be using the interior, the dough inside the cornbread, not the crust. You'll also need half a cup of finely chopped fresh parsley, 1 small onion finely chopped, 1 tablespoon of pimenta moída or hot pepper sauce. You'll need half a cup of pork pate. You'll need 2 egg yolks, and we'll be separating the egg whites and yolks later on. 1 tablespoon of sweet paprika, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of black pepper, and you also need salt for seasoning. And the salt will be to your taste. These are the ingredients you'll need to make the Portuguese stuffing or the recheio, and I'll also list these ingredients in the description box down below. Now the first thing you need to do is prepare the rice as well as the giblets, we call it moelas in Portuguese, and the chouriço. So you got to give that a boil. So what I have here is a pot for the rice, and I've seasoned the water with some salt, and the salt will be to your taste and to your liking. And I have the 2 cups of long grain rice, which I'm going to boil. And so I'm going to place it in the pot. I'm going to wait until that rice is cooked. And now for the giblets, what I'm going to do is I'm going to season it with a little bit of salt. Again, the salt will be to your liking. You want to give the giblets a good boil. So I'm going to 15-20 minutes, and I'm going to salt the water. I'm going to put about half a teaspoon. And now I'm going to add the giblets. Once the giblets have boiled, I'm going to remove it out of the water, and then I'm going to place the chouriço in there, the Portuguese sausage. So we're going to wait for the giblets to boil, and we're going to wait for the rice to cook, and I'm going to move on to the next step. Now while I have the giblets and the rice boiling, I'm going to move on to the next step. This is about 2-day-old bread, and I'm going to break it apart and place it in a large bowl, and then I'm also going to get the interior of the cornbread and place it in the bowl as well. So I'm using half a cornbread and 8 buns. So I'm going to start off with the actual bun, and I'm going to break it into pieces and place it in a large bowl. I'm going to continue tearing the bread, and then I'll show you the next step. Just going to add the interior of the cornbread. I'm not using the crust of the cornbread. Now, as you can see, I have all the cornbread and the buns that I tore apart in smaller pieces. Now you want to soak the bread in warm water. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place warm water in the bowl with the bread and let it soak until it becomes a very soft texture. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to place the warm water in the bowl here, and the water is going to be, the bread is going to be immersed in the warm water. Press it down, let it soak, and eventually I'm going to be draining the water, really soaked into the bread. The water is anyway. So I want to make sure all of the bread is covered and soaked with the water, and then I'll show you the next step. Moving on to the next step, I have the giblets that have been boiling here for about 15 minutes, and I have the rice that is cooked. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the chouriço inside the same water that's been boiling giblets. It's all going to go to the same place, but before I do that, I'm just going to remove the giblets, place it on a plate here, and I'm going to place the chouriço in the same water to boil for about 8 minutes or so, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, everyone, I've had the bread soaking here in the water. It's very, very soft. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a strainer here to remove the bread. Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it in a colander, just like this. Let the water drain. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just pressing down. You can see there's still a lot of water. And I want to remove the excess water and really dry out the bread. So you can see that there's a lot of water there still. See that underneath? I have a bowl underneath to drain the water. Okay, now I'm going to leave the bread in the strainer and let the excess water drain into the bowl here, and I'm gonna move on to the next step. Okay, I'm just checking on the chouriço. It's been boiling for about 8 minutes now. I'm just gonna turn off the heat, and I'm gonna remove the chouriço out of the water here. And we're gonna move on to the next step. Okay, everyone. I have the giblets and the chouriço. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the casing from the chouriço, and I'm going to process it here in the food processor with the giblets and break it into little pieces. I'm just going to remove the casing, and as I'm removing the casing, I'm going to place the pieces of the chouriço in the food processor. And I'm also going to put the giblets in there while I'm at it. And I have one more to go, and then I'll show you in the next step. Now I'm going to just break down the chouriço and the giblets into small pieces and then start adding it to the large bowl here. Just for a couple seconds. Now you can see that it's into smaller pieces, just like that. And I'm going to start adding it to the bowl here. And now I'm going to start adding all the ingredients in this bowl, mixing it together, and of course I'm going to show you how to do that. Now I'm going to bring together the stuffing by placing, obviously I've already placed the chouriço and the giblets that I've processed in the food processor. I'm going to place the bread that I've drained here. I have the rice as well, and I have all the other ingredients. So I'm going to combine everything together, and I'm going to start off by placing the bread. Okay, we have all the bread in there. Okay. Next, I'm going to add the rice, which I've also strained the excess water from the rice, placing it in here. I'm going to add the pork pate, which is, in Portuguese, we call it paprika. You can eliminate this if you don't want to add it, but this is how my mom makes it. And next I'm going to add the onion. the pimenta moída, which is the hot pepper sauce. You can eliminate this as well if you don't want it a little spicy. I'm going to add the paprika, the garlic powder, and the black pepper. Now I'll be checking this for seasoning once I've mixed it all together and see if I need a little more seasoning. And I'm going to add the butter. Now you want to make sure you add the pate, the pork pate, as well as the butter at room temperature, so it's easier to combine and mix. All right, and I'm going to add the parsley. And last but not least, the eggs. So I'm going to separate the yolks from the whites. All I need is the yolks for this recipe. It's one. Oh. And that's two. It happens. I'm gonna give my hands a rinse and then I'll show you the next step. Okay everyone, I'm gonna combine this all together. I'm gonna be using a spoon to combine it all together. So now it's time to mix all of this together. Now, you know it's well combined when the rice is not white anymore. So that pate, the pork pate that I mixed in here, that has a lot of flavor as well, and it's a little spicy. So like I said, if you want to eliminate the pork pate, that's fine, but it gives it so much flavor and taste. It's amazing and delicious. We have everything well incorporated. I'm just gonna give it a taste test to see if it needs a little bit more seasoning of salt. And like I said, the seasoning is to your liking. So this is just simply a guide as to what I place in the stuffing and how my mom taught me. So I'm just gonna take a spoon and just try some of the stuffing, see if it needs a little more salt. Tastes delicious, but it does need a little bit more salt. I'm just gonna put half a teaspoon. Give that another mix. All right, I'm ready to transfer the stuffing onto a Pyrex tray and get it into the oven. All I'm gonna simply do here is place all of the stuffing right into this tray here. All right, now once you have everything on the tray, you just want to spread it out evenly. Okay, everyone, I have my oven preheated to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm ready to place the stuffing in the oven. I'm going to bake it on the top rack for a total of 45 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover the stuffing with some foil paper and bake it for first 20 minutes. Then I'm going to remove the foil paper. And then I'm going to let it continue baking for another 20 minutes. And I want that crispiness on the top. So the last 5 minutes, I place it on broil, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it comes out of the oven. And here is the delicious Portuguese stuffing. It's really hot. Just took it out of the oven. It was in the oven for a total time of 45 minutes. So I had it covered with foil paper for 20 minutes. At the 20-minute mark, I removed the foil and let it cook again on the top rack. And the last 5 minutes, I put it on a high broil so it can get that crispiness right on the top of the stuffing. I'm gonna let it set and cut into it and show you what it looks like inside and how tasty this Portuguese stuffing is. All right, everyone, the time I've been waiting for is to dig into this Portuguese stuffing. There's a nice crispiness on the top, and it's just delicious and flavorful on the inside. I'm gonna scoop a piece of the stuffing, just a little piece. This is how we break into it. There's no cutting involved. still very hot. And here is my Portuguese stuffing, nice and crispy on the top, flavorful on the inside, a delicious Portuguese stuffing, and easy to make. I hope you give this recipe a try. And now for the grand finale, I'm gonna try the recheio, the Portuguese stuffing. I have to get some of the crispiness on the outside, on the top that is, and the inside. So tasty. I absolutely love this recheio. I always need to get a little bit of the crust because I love it. So delicious. So much flavor. And I hope you all enjoy this recipe. It's a guide. You don't have, if you want to eliminate some of the ingredients, that's totally up to you. That's the way my mom taught me how to make Portuguese recheio, Portuguese stuffing. I love it just like this. Like I said earlier, you can also stuff some hot peppers, some bell peppers, and obviously you can also place it in the turkey as the stuffing. And I tend to see that we only get the top crispiness on the out, so you just by the legs of the turkey, you get that crispiness, and then it's the whole inside. But this way you can also get a lot of crispiness, a little bit of the scoop, you get a little bit on the top and the inside. So delicious. I hope you all enjoyed my recipe for Portuguese stuffing, recheio. I hope you all have a happy Thanksgiving, and I hope you liked the recipe, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Take care.